Finance Committee will come to order. Good morning, members. I know it was an early start, but we have things that we need to get done today. So with us, we have Senate File 2387. Senator Jasinski, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks for having me this morning, and thanks for your hard work. I know you went late until last night, till 11 p.m. It's almost like the pension committee, you're working late like that. But I want to thank you for having me here. And actually, this is Senator Duckworth's bill. I want to thank him. He's actually serving in the National Guard, so he's servicing our Minnesotans here today in the States, so he is not here, but I'm proud to present his bill here today. I know if he was here, he would thank his co-authors, which would be Senator Rosen and myself, because I know he would do that, so we'll do that. This is a great bill. We've talked about this in our leadership, in our caucus. It's something that we feel strong about. There's a huge amount of money coming to Minnesota from the federal government. We believe as legislators that we should have some input on where this money is spent. It's gonna go on the state to path for the post-pandemic crisis. So I think everybody's been affected by COVID in our state. If it was either someone missing their high school graduation ceremony, or postponing a wedding, or not being able to go to someone's birth announcement, or something like that, or you name it, everybody's been affected by COVID. So this bill in front of us today gives relief and some huge money to Minnesota to recover from this COVID situation. So I want to go through it briefly. I think, again, as I said, we as legislators work. A lot of us don't do this for money. We do things to bring back to our community and give back to our districts. And this is something that this bill does to every single district across the state. Before we go into the details of it, I do want to say that you will not see a lot of money on education, because we know there's a large amount of money coming from the federal government, about $5.37 billion. So there's not a lot of money in education in this bill, knowing because it's coming in another venue. So this bill in front of us spends $2.56 billion in fiscal years 22 and 23. I'll briefly go through some of the highlights of the bill. In Section 1, we're going to increase the cross-subsidy in education. $100 million goes to our schools for that. In Article 3, we spend $179 million for our resorts. As many of you know, those industries have been affected dramatically across the state of Minnesota. So we go through detail there. We'll go through later in the bill in the details of that. Article 3 has $165 million for the PFA. We know a lot of those facilities were built back in the 50s. A lot of them been struggling with upgrading for phosphorus and other issues across the state. So this bill and this federal funds will allow us to do some of these projects that have been waiting a long time. Article 3, Section 3 is on tourism. It's $15 million. Again, this industry has been dramatically affected across our state. Article 3, Section 4 goes to the zoo appropriations. These also, we know, have not been able to have the attendance they have in the past due to COVID. So we have $5 million for the Minnesota Zoo, $50,000 to the Como Park Zoo and Conservatory, and $500,000 to the Lake Superior Zoo. Going on to Article 3, Section 5, we give relief grants to event centers, $100 million. Again, these event centers have been dramatically impacted by COVID, so this would go out to the event centers across the state. Article 3, Section 6 is entertainment and community events. As we well know, every one of our districts have community events that can be canceled or postponed. This gives $100 million to those events for the loss they've done. A lot of those nonprofits in our districts and our cities have been affected, so this money will go out to affect and help them. Article 3, Section 7, grants to small businesses. This appropriates $300 million in fiscal year 22. We've talked about all kinds of different Main Street retailers, dry cleaners, businesses engaged in all kinds of different industry that have been affected. So this will be small grants to businesses that have not gotten relief yet or continue to be affected by COVID. Article 4, Section 1, this is $600 million for the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund that will put money into that, so we'll have that money. Article 5, which is my favorite, is $1 billion in transportation appropriations. We've split this up, $243.91 million for the Republican caucus and special projects, and an almost equal amount of $240 million for the DFL projects. Some of those projects include Senator Kent's $104 million for a project I know she's been talking about in transportation bonding for years, the 694, 494, 94 interchange, a very important project in the metro. Senator Champion has $10 million project for the Highway 252 and 94 BRT. Continuing in transportation, $40 million for the BRT, $30 million for bike lanes, $10 million for safe routes to school, $10 million of small bridges, which there are many, as we know, across in our townships that are failing. Some are even closed, so that will be great money for there. $101 million for these major bridges across Minnesota. We know there's a lot of those here in the metro. The Kellogg Bridge is an example here, right here in St. Paul. $40 million for Mercy freight transportation, $20 million for small cities. We know a lot of small cities get missed out on transportation funding in our small cities across the state. $20 million for townships, almost identical to small cities. They need money for these township roads. You'll see a lot in your districts these days. Because of the frost boils coming up, these townships need this needed money to continue to provide roads in good condition. And there are so many township roads across the state. They make up more roads than any roads in the state. $20 million for regular city roads, $40 million for the local road improvement program, LRIP, $30 million for our ports. I will have $80 million for Quarters of Commerce, which has been a huge program that's helped a lot of roads get added lanes, increased safety, and getting commerce across our state. And then $74.23 million for state road construction. So lots of great projects in here. That's an overview, a summary of it. I think this is a very, very important bill this year to get our state to recover from all the things we've been through and how every Minnesotan has been affected by COVID. So with that, Madam Chair, I do have an amendment. I think we need to pass the A3 first, and then I have a technical amendment on A5. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Jasinski. That was a very, very good description of the bill. And the A5 has been, we have the A3 before us, and that has been posted and emailed, and I suppose we'll get Senator Ingebrigtsen.
Madam Chair, I offer the amendment, the A3.
For the record, members, we do have a quorum. And thank you, Senator Ingebrigtsen. The A3 is basically the bill. It's a delete everything amendment, and we will, okay. Members, can you please turn on your video and audio? Any questions to the A3 amendment, which is to delete all to the bill? Okay. Members, all those in favor of the A3 amendment, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. The amendment is adopted. And then Senator Ingebrigtsen, we have the A5 amendment.
Madam Chair, I offer the A5 amendment.
Senator Ingebrigtsen moves the A5 amendment to the A3 amendment. And it is delete section 8 on page 10 of the delete all amendment of the A3. Senator Jasinski, would you just like to give a brief description on that?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. So in the original bill, we appropriate for the ports across Minnesota $10 million to Duluth, $10 million to Winona, and $10 million to St. Paul ports. After hearing some discussions with the stakeholders, we have an amendment that actually divides that differently where the needs are, so that is split up between Duluth, Winona, St. Paul, and Red Wing. So this amendment just puts the money where the money is needed to help with our ports across Minnesota.
Okay. Any questions on the A5 amendment? Okay. Senator Ingebrigtsen renews his motion on the A5. All those in favor of the A5 amendment, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion prevails. A5 is adopted. Okay, so you have your bill before us as you'd like, Senator Jasinski. And Mr. Naumann, we're going to turn to you is there something that you can share as far as the numbers? And,
Madam Chair, there is a tracking spreadsheet that I put in the chat if members wish to pull it up on their own, but I will go ahead and share my screen with your permission.
yes, please.
Okay. So are members able to see this tracking document?
Well, we can see that you're on the chat, Mr. Nell.
My apologies.
Better go to that espresso machine, I'm just saying.
I got it. Well, Madam Chair, you'd be amazed how many items that I have open on my screen. I thought I had the right one, so my apologies.
I thought there was something special he wanted us to see in chat.
It's just
There-
chatter between Mr. Bodern and I in Dallas.
Senator Champion, you might be amazed how uneventful it is. Let's try this one. Do we have a spreadsheet titled the State Fiscal Recovery Fund?
Mr. Nauman, can you make that bigger, please?
I can do my best, yeah. Let me expand the screen a little. Madam Chair, members, this is simply a spreadsheet that tracks through the numbers that Senator Jasinski talked about earlier. I think what I'd like to do, with members' permission, is maybe talk about the bottom line first, and then maybe organize a little bit by a specific agency. This spreadsheet is organized by where the appropriations go by agency. I just thought it would be a useful way to think about this. There are topic items that are organized in the DE or the A3 based on the topical needs that are being appropriated in this particular bill. So the spreadsheet's organized slightly differently. But the first and foremost item is line 90. Based on the most recent estimates that I have from the Federal Funds Information for States, which is a source that that fiscal staff and others in Minnesota use, and frankly all across the country for determining how much resources are coming to the states for a particular federal appropriation. The amount for the State Fiscal Relief Fund, the SFRF, is $2.577 billion. And so we've loaded that line onto line 90, then tracked down all the appropriations that are in the spreadsheet above. And the estimates are 2.565 in the appropriation, with a difference of about $12.4 million unallocated at this point. I think that's, I will quickly say that these are the best estimates on the available resources. I think I noticed that Ms. Rayton is online as well. There may be, she may have some thoughts about the appropriate amount of resources to be using at this stage, but these are the numbers that I was able to grab when the spreadsheet was being put together. So scrolling back up to the top, as Senator Jasinski talked about earlier, there's $100 million for the Department of Education for one line item. The Department of Employment and Economic Development receives about $1.3 billion of the resources. A good portion of that is the transfer to the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. The PFA receives a single appropriation for water infrastructure improvements with a collection of riders of 160, totaling 165 million. The Explore Minnesota Tourism receives 15 million, and the zoos, the Minnesota Zoological Board receives $5 million, and then $1 million for the other two zoos through the Department of Administration. As Senator Jasinski pointed out earlier, there's a large collection of individual line items for the Department of Transportation that totals $923.6 million, and the Metropolitan Council 76.3. And those items all then total down to 2.565, as we talked about earlier. All appropriations are made in fiscal 22. Members, if members have individual questions about the length of the availability of the money, we can revert to the language. In many cases, the money by law, under federal law, is available to no longer than December 31st, 2024. The DE A3 amendment has backed that up by a couple of weeks. We learned some lessons from the Coronavirus Relief Fund that MMB typically prefers to have a few weeks to tidy things up. So the appropriations are typically not made available for any longer than December 15th, 2024, which seems a long time from now. And then in some cases, appropriations contain language with reporting provisions, and those are all made, all those reports are required January 15th, 2025. So Madam Chair, if there are other questions about specific items, I think fiscal staff are nearby, and you can call on them, or I'll do my best to answer any questions that you have. Hope that's
Thank you,
helpful.
Mr. Nauman.
Would you like me to continue the screen share, or would you prefer I end it at this point?
I think I'm going to look for some questions. Anybody have any questions? Okay, that'd be fine. Thank you, Mr. Nauman. You can take it off.
Okay,
now.
thank you, Madam Chair.
And I believe we have Commissioner Showalter and State Director Britta Ratten on. Welcome.
Good
Would you-
morning, Madam Chair. Good to see you again. Thank you, members. Jim Show, for the record, Jim Showalter, Commissioner of Minnesota Management and Budget, back with you again. I just have a couple of brief comments. Thanks for the opportunity.
Good morning, Commissioner. Yes.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, we
Do you want me
have.
to proceed?
Can we start over, Commissioner? Let's start this
Can
over.
you hear me?
Where you're cutting in and out. Let's try this again.
No, totally. Okay. Thanks, Madam Chair. Members, for the record, my name is Jim Showalter, Commissioner of Minnesota Management and Budget. So far, so good?
Sort of, but yeah, we can hear you. You're just,
Can you hear me?
your mouth is not moving.
Sort of. Ooh.
So go ahead, Commissioner, we'll try. Or perhaps maybe you want to turn your video off for right now. Yeah, there you go.
I'll stop video and spare us all. Thanks for the opportunity to comment. I'll make some brief comments because as we have discussed many times, Madam Chair, the federal funds are an important element of planning going forward. The A3 amendment, I appreciate the opportunity to comment on it. I think there's a shared desire for all Minnesotans to move on. The governor's budget was built on the recovery from the pandemic and COVID-19, and that's really the theme of the moment. We all know, based on our personal experience and the forecasts that we presented in front of this committee, that the pandemic has had huge impacts on the economy, on families, and that it hasn't been across the board, that it's really been focused on certain segments of the economy, certain families, certain parts of certain communities, and that ultimately there's a lot of transitions ahead because economic behavior, a lot of issues have changed on us. The American Rescue Plan is an opportunity to move on. And this is really a multi-billion-dollar opportunity to address the impacts. That is one of the few things that we know about the federal funds at this point in time, is that it is supposed to be COVID-related. More specific guidance hasn't been given to us yet. And we both are anxiously looking forward to the time that we have that more detailed guidance, because it's going to be important. Maybe later this month. It is certainly due by May 11th, according to the timeline given in the legislation. So just accordingly, MMBA expresses caution in moving forward this time because some of the expenditures may not be allowable. We're not sure of how to maximize the use of these funds, and that this is a different opportunity than CARES or the Recovery Act that we worked together on more than a decade ago. Now, this is a 3-year time horizon. It is not a 1-year use it or lose it kind of opportunity. So we're going to have to figure out one way or another in this legislation or in other ways to figure out how these appropriations comply with federal guidance and what we do if federal funds are parsed out over the 3 years and aren't all funded up front. How the state intends to coordinate with the billions being sent separately to state government or other federal programs. And, are there ways for state government to coordinate or maximizing the impact of these different funding streams? Now, what are the contingencies for additional pandemic response that are ahead? And are there things that we need to know? This is the money that we get for the next 3 years. Are there things that we need to understand about the post-COVID economy and make sure that we address these funds appropriately? I know that these are some of the questions that you and the committee are thinking of as you are moving this forward. But just appreciate the chance to remind that we do have time, that we have opportunity to work together and expect to do so going forward through this session. So thank you for the opportunity to testify, Madam Chair, and members. And be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Do we have any questions for the Commissioner? Commissioner, have you gotten any more clear guidance in the last 24 hours?
Sadly, no. Sadly, no. I think probably as you and other members experience with the CARES guidance, it only comes when it's ready. And I think they're sorting through literally hundreds, if not thousands of questions coming from state treasurers, from budget officers, from local governments. And I've got no indication of a date when they would expect to release it. There was one rumor of it being ready late this April, but I haven't heard a second person say that yet.
Interesting. So there's rumors out there, huh? Have you gotten maybe an idea of where they would like to see the ARP funds focused on? Would it be relief for businesses? Would it be, as we're focusing on transportation, relief for businesses, areas where the CARES Act money was not able to affect or support, and that would have been like the tourism, the event centers, the big breakdown in that. Do you think they'll focus on the education piece too? Although there is quite a bit of money headed that way.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members, great question. I don't know. I do know that theme of being COVID response and preparing for the local needs that have been created and need to be addressed from the pandemic impact on Minnesotans, and that delegation of responsibility from the federal government to state leaders to figure that out, because I'm pretty sure our needs are different than what we're going to see in some other states. Our priorities may be different. So you ask a good question, whether it's more business oriented or education oriented or any other orientation. It's like, I think that is, in fact, literally the public policy question we'll need to work through.
And one more question, Commissioner Showalter. What are the differences between the CARES Act and the money that we had last year versus this money? I know one was the revenue replacement. You can do revenue replacement, and they were very adamant about that with the CARES Act, that was not eligible. Anything else that pops to your mind?
Madam Chair, you're right. There's a portion of the flexible funds that are going to be available for revenue replacement in the general fund. There's, I think we both know there's certain comments that were either made by treasury officials or in the bill itself, like what could states do for tax cuts? Could this money be used for tax cuts? And we quickly tried to clarify those comments. There were comments, I think, about not using these funds for pension obligations. So there are some limitations to what the legislature can do with these funds for general purposes, but there is some money based upon the revenue lost. That is one of those calculations that I'm looking forward to understanding better about how much that can be. The other piece that's really different, as I mentioned before, is that this is a multi-year package, unlike CARES, which we were told needed to be spent by December 31 and it would go away. And hence we were geared towards understanding how to deal with an unknown set of challenges, a pandemic that was emerging in front of us. This is really more items that are more under our control. What are the priorities? What are the programs? What are the types of help that we want to deliver over the next 3-year period? And so it's a little bit less of a sprint and hopefully a little bit more planful opportunity for the state.
Okay, fabulous. Commissioner Showalter, we have 2 more senators that have questions, and we do have session at 9 o'clock. I just want to remind members that we will have to go into recess for a few minutes while we do a paper push. But if you could stay online, I'd appreciate that. Senator Marty.
Thank you, Commissioner Showalter. Question about, I've seen the law, the 4 or 5 things it says in there. It mentions broadband and so on. Do we have anything other than the actual wording of the law? I mean, are they going to give us one big package? Here's what you can do, and then they'll take questions after that? Or are they dishing out, here's a little bit of information? In other words, do you have any information beyond what they spell out in the actual words of the law?
Commissioner Showalter.
Madam Chair, Senator, they have not been parsing out partial instructions. And so the only small tidbit was available was that clarification on whether the legislature could put money into conformity and whether that would tax conformity and whether that would disallow the ability for general revenues and flexible funds. And they clarified that that wasn't the case.
Thank you.
Senator Marty?
That's all.
Okay, thank you. And Senator Ingebrigtsen, you had your hand up? Question
No,
answer?
it can wait, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Further questions for the commissioner? Any questions for State Director Britta Rattan? Good morning. Okay, with that, thank you so much, Commissioner and State Director. I do appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Members, we have one more amendment before we have to go into recess. It's the A4 amendment. It looks like it's a technical amendment on page 6, line 10. Delete because and insert or. So the paragraph would read is directly reliant on ticketed live entertainment or community events, but is not directly in receipt of those ticket revenues, or the event is free to the general public.
Madam
So,
Chair, I offer the A4.
Thank you, Senator Ritson. Moves the A4 amendment. Members, any questions to the A4? Senator Pratt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this was a bill that we heard in our committee offered by Senator Housley. Because promoters are not always allowed to ticket their own events when renting another venue. So it's say an independent programmer or promoter might rent an independent venue like the Pantages Theater, and then the Pantages would direct the receipt of those ticket sales, even though the producer and the promoter of the event is the renter. And we'd just like to reconcile that ticket sales versus rent and expenses due to the venue after the show. So that's why it's technical, and so many of these promoters have been hurt. They unfortunately have not been successful in getting aid through some of our other grant programs, and we'd really like to make sure that these folks who have been so hurt by the recession and the restrictions are able to stay in business as well.
Thank you, Senator Pratt. Are there any questions on the A4? Okay. Senator Ingebrigtsen renews his motion on the A4 amendment. Members, audio on, video on. All those in favor of the A4 amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The motion prevails. Amendment is adopted. Members, I think we are going to go into recess to the call of the chair. Thank you very much.